Well, everyone, it's time for us to go and take a look at the Samsung Galaxy S24 FE and compare it against the iPhone 13 and see which particular phone is the better one for you. Now, in my personal opinion, if I'm going to go through and pick up a device, it is pretty much almost always going to be one of the newer ones. But in this particular case, I don't really think you can go wrong with either one of these devices. But like I do think for a lot of people, both of these devices are pretty solid. The S24 FE might be more of a flagship, but the iPhone 13 was just a mid-tier, almost flagship phone that, Apple made a couple of years ago. So let's go and see how they both compare. If you want to pick up either one of these devices, links will be down in the description. You can get them from there and you can help support the channel at the exact same time. Now, starting off with the outside of both these particular devices, on the front side of the iPhone 13, this phone came out back in 2021, and on the front side, you're basically getting a 6.1-inch Super Retina XDR OLED display. Now with this type of panel, I will tell you it's a very, very good looking panel for how old this phone is, but it's not the best panel of all time, right? It doesn't really get that bright 1200 nits of brightness, and it's a 60 Hz display. You're getting a notch up top. It's a pretty basic type of panel when it comes down to it, right? It's not like the best looking thing of all time. And I would say that is somewhat of a downside with this type of panel, right? Even though this phone is like 3 years old now, I feel like even 3 years ago, Apple probably could have done a little bit of a better job at it, but it's not the biggest deal in the world, and I still enjoy having a phone like this when it comes down to it. Whereas on the Galaxy S24 FE, this phone did just recently come out, so keep that in mind. This is basically one of the newest phones that you can basically buy from Samsung, and on the front side of this particular phone, you're getting a 6.7-inch dynamic AMOLED display. It's 1080p and it's 120 Hz. It also gets a 1900 nits of brightness as well. Now with this type of phone, what I'll definitely tell you is that I do think for a vast majority of people, this is easily one of the better types of panels that you can basically buy for a device right now. It's a beautiful device. It looks very, very nice. If you're going to go through and pick up a phone, this is a very good panel. It's bigger than the iPhone 13. It also gets brighter than the iPhone 13s, and it has a higher refresh rate. In almost every single way you could probably imagine, this is a better panel in most standard ways you could probably think. Now, on the sides, they're both basically flat-sided, which is nice to have. I love being able to go through, being able to get a phone that has like flat sides on it. You're getting a USB Type-C port on the bottom of the Galaxy S24 FE. We're getting a Lightning port on the bottom of the iPhone 13. Definitely USB-C is way better. On the back side of both, you're getting standard glass backs. So that is something that's really nice to have on both these phones. Having standard glass back is nice, but frosted glass back is way better. You're getting a dual camera setup on the 13, triple camera setup on the S24 FE. You're getting wireless charging on both. You're getting this MagSafe, feature set on the iPhone 13. But on the Galaxy S24 FE, you are getting things like reverse wireless charging, which is really nice. So when I'm looking on the outside of both these phones, definitely between both, you're getting more of a flagship type of device and a flagship type of experience on something like the, Samsung Galaxy S24 FE. This phone is going to be more of a flagship in almost every single practical way you can think about it. And that is one major thing that I like about that type of phone. However, on something like the, iPhone 13, this one still feels very expensive, and it is a cheaper phone than something like the Galaxy S24 FE. The iPhone 13, you can probably buy for like around $350-ish. The Galaxy S24 FE is about $650 in the brand new market. So if you are wanting the phone that's going to be a cheaper price, well, definitely something like the iPhone 13 is definitely going to be a better priced phone in a majority of ways. Even though it may not have the most bells and whistles, it still is a really, really good phone in some ways. So in terms of that kind of covers it up there. Now, in terms of the camera side, the iPhone 13 is giving you a dual 12 megapixel camera on the outside. So you're getting basically a 12 megapixel wide, then a 12 megapixel ultra wide camera, where the Galaxy S24 FE is giving you a triple camera setup, 50 megapixel wide, 8 megapixel telephoto, then a 12 megapixel ultra wide camera. Now, both of these phones can film in 4K at 60 on the front and the back. So that is a nice thing going on for both of these devices. Like I said, I like being able to go through and buy either one of these types of phones that's going to be giving you that type of capability. And I do think that's a very nice thing. Now, a big thing you're going to have to keep in mind here is that whichever phone you're basically going to buy, you're going to be getting a little bit of a different type of experience depending on which way you're going to go. Now, what I mean by that is that on the iPhone 13, this camera quality is very good. There's not really too many things to complain about there from a camera quality perspective. However, when you're looking at it in terms of basically, like the filming resolution standpoint, one, the Galaxy S24 FE has a telephoto lens, like a dedicated one, but it also is basically giving you this type of 8K capability on the backside, which that in and of itself is a very big asset. Having 8K capability on the back is amazing, and you're definitely going to be getting that on the Samsung Galaxy S24 FE. So in my personal opinion, if I'm going to go through and pick up a phone, it's definitely going to be the S23 FE or S24 FE. I feel like that camera is probably going to be the significantly better one in almost every single way than the iPhone 13. So from that side, that kind of covers it up there too. Now, another very big thing to keep in mind here is the fact that the iPhone 13 and the S24 FE are still supported with software, and they're probably going to be supported with software for a bit of time. And I think that's a very big thing to keep in mind, right? If you're going to want the longer lasting phone, it probably is going to be with something like the S24 FE, but the iPhone 13 is still going to be here, and it's not going anywhere anytime soon either. So I think that's a very big thing to keep in mind. Like if you're wanting the longer lasting phone, it probably is going to be something like the Galaxy S24 FE, and that is something that I love and I respect about that type of device. So from that perspective, if you are wanting the longer lasting phone, it probably is going to be something like the S24 FE. Even from a longer lasting perspective from battery, I mean, the S24 FE is giving you a 4700 mAh battery. The iPhone 13 is a 3240 mAh battery. So in my personal opinion, if you are wanting the phone that's going to be lasting for a longer period of time, it probably is once again going to be something like a Galaxy S24 FE. That one is going to be the better battery life here in almost every single way you can imagine. On top of that, when it comes down to the performance perspective, this is another big area to kind of keep in mind here too. So between both the S24 FE, I mean, this phone is going to be giving you an Exynos 2400E chipset with 8GB of RAM, but the iPhone 13 is giving you the Apple A15 Bionic chip with 4GB of RAM. Now, in the majority of ways you could probably imagine, the performance levels between both are going to be a little varying, but I do think a big thing to kind of keep in mind here is that with something like the Samsung Galaxy S24 FE, because of that ProMotion display and the overall performance of that device, that is going to be a really, really good performing device. I like the device a lot, and I do think this in and of itself is a very nice thing going on for this type of phone. I think with the iPhone 13, this is also a very good device. I like the device a lot. If you are going to go through and pick up a phone, that is a really, really good phone. I will say the advantage of the S24 FE is the more RAM and the overall better, display technology. But with something like the iPhone, 13, this phone is still fairly smooth for the most part. It still is a very, very fast phone. And I do think if you're going to go through and use a device on an everyday perspective, I am telling you, I do think something like the Samsung Galaxy S24 FE is going to be giving you a really good experience too when it comes down to it. So between both, to kind of sum up this whole entire video, I genuinely don't think you can go super wrong with either one, right? I think both of these devices are very, very solid. And I do think that's a very nice thing going on for both. But I would probably say if I'm in the market, right, and if I'm going to go through and pick up a device, probably something like the Samsung Galaxy S24 FE is a more flagship type of device. That one is the one that I look at as probably being a more of a flagship than something like the Galaxy, S20, than something like the iPhone 13. But I still think both these devices are great. You genuinely can't go wrong with either one. But that's kind of how I see both these devices somewhat holding up. If you have any other thoughts or questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.